you're watching this or listening to this, Sean and I have we're sweating out bets this evening, as usually is the case.
Degenerates.
Even with an awful 4-game slate that LeBron and Anthony Davis pulled out of, we have several bets on the line that we are sweating out, including a late Celtics money line play for your boys. So by the time people are hearing this or seeing this or whatever, they might have already blown it against the shorthanded Celtics. I mean Lakers, but let's hope not. Welcome, the floor is yours. We're all here except Tony. Tony's got some stuff to handle, some business to take care of. I'm sure he'll try his damnedest to be back next Thursday for our post-trade deadline special. I guess we'll call it that. How we feeling? We got to get to some stuff. We got a lot on the plate today, so suddenly, so to speak.
Yeah, it went from this morning being something like, okay, I guess we'll talk about this, to like trades happening, injuries happening. It's been a busy day.
Yeah, this will be what, Sean, the 4th year that Victor Oladipo is the steal at the trade deadline for somebody?
Something like that. I mean, what is it? One man's trash is another man's treasure. No, I don't want to say that's about Depot. That's rude. But he, look, that's a weird trade. It's a looking forward to the future financial and get some assets trade. But
yeah, I didn't expect Adams to cost 3 seconds, but I mean he is 30. He is going to be a hard-nosed vet for that Ime Udoka team. I don't like what I saw from Tick I can't pronounce the last name. He said that Adams is going to get 20 minutes a game, which means that after Sengun played 28 minutes last season and hated it, and Ime bumped him to 32. Is it now? Because we know the team covers the Rockets, so I don't like that next year after this, which should be an all-star season. I guess plot twist, spoiler, he didn't make the team. Sengun minutes is going to be reduced now, but I like it as a.
And for people tuning in who may like, I mean, Steven Adams got traded for Victor Oladipo and
3 seconds. Yeah. So, and that's the second apron kind of showing you from now, like a team like the Grizzlies are even running from it. So, like in a nutshell, the Grizzlies save a hell of a lot of money. They get probably, they must know that Jaren Jackson Jr. is not the son of a future. So a
little bit more of a breakdown than I expected. I don't really particularly care about this trade at all. I ain't gonna lie, like,
but yeah, it's just in that
Steven Adams is out for the season. Victor Oladipo might not ever play again, and there's 3 second-round picks going to Memphis. Hurrah!
Yeah. But I do think it's a good precursor for the end of this podcast, which is going to be the trade deadline. So we'll get there later.
Yeah, good luck and God bless to all parties involved. Why is Jackson Hayes killing the Celtics tonight? It doesn't make sense to me. Speaking of centers, Joel Embiid. Torn meniscus?
So it's actually conflicting reports.
Really?
Woj only said injured, and the team said injured. So all of the other reports
saying torn meniscus? Chris Haynes, right?
And Shams. So
all right. So let's read between the lines here. I'm glad you cleared that up. Somebody's protecting something.
Amen.
If multiple other reporters who we know are plugged in are hearing meniscus and Woj isn't reporting meniscus, and neither
he's saying meniscus, but he's saying injured. He isn't saying torn.
Not saying torn.
Yeah, he's saying injured. And he also added a note that over the weekend they will come up with some treatment.
Sports are so childish. Adrian Wojnarowski. Here we go. Joel Embiid injured lateral meniscus in his left knee, will be out through the weekend. It sounds like more than a weekend to me, while a treatment plan is finalized. Van Lee says good night, guys, which, that's interesting because Van Lee, I hope that doesn't mean you're leaving. I hope that means you're going to stay for the show while we're here for about 30 minutes or so. Sean, we're up on YouTube right now. I mean, on YouTube, on Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah, we are.
YouTube. Yeah, we're on everywhere you can access the 5 Reasons content. Yeah, everything should be set up.
Well, you're all gonna watch me sweat out this Celtics Lakers bet as Jackson Hayes again seemingly has drawn a foul.
I want to throw this up here. This Tom Christ. This is Tom Christ is where I go. Like if I have
Christ.
Chris. I just call him
Mike.
Doc. Like when I get sick, I go to Fantasy Injury T. That's where I get my treatment. Like, if I have a little sniffle, he's the guy that saves me. And obviously he has a blue check mark, so he knows what he's talking about in terms of medicals. So he talks about, the meniscus surgery. We know that, when we talked about like Victor Oladipo, Dwayne Wade, Robert Williams, that you have that repair that is the long term, season's over. You can also do that whole shaving, which is typically
that's the
Robert
Robert
Williams.
Williams.
Robert Williams. Oh man.
Robert Williams paying for that to this day.
Listen, if Joel Embiid shaves his meniscus, it's the worst decision he's made
Ever.
probably ever. Say less D. I am not giving Joel Embiid my knees. I am going to laugh amongst people in pain, as not only Joel Embiid is in pain, but the city is in pain because the Sixers are crashing back down to earth. But that's all right.
James Wiseman just missed an entire season due to a torn meniscus recently. And when you tear your meniscus, that's one thing. When you do it when you're like 7 feet tall, 7'1" according to some, but Joel Embiid, 7-footer. That's bad. Speaking of bad, Lakers are up 12. Jesus Christ. And I think that Joel Embiid, he's in some real trouble here if this is in fact a tear in terms of potentially missing the season. Like typically menisci, I think Timmy and I were trying to figure this out at some point, whether that's the correct term, meniscuses, menisci. Joel Embiid, if it's a torn meniscus, like oftentimes you'll see a meniscus be like 2 months, 3 months, but other times it can be longer than that. And Joel Embiid has the injury history and all these different things. So that's pretty worrisome. And needless to say, while I do think that Maxey is great, he's an all-star as well. Spoiler alert, we'll get to that later. They're in trouble, needless to say. And I don't think if he's out for a significant period of time, if this is in fact not a tear, or if it's a tear that he can come back from in 2 months, so that would be April, right before the playoffs, that maybe it's not a death knell, but man, this is a tough time to have like a serious ass injury because it's literally the 1st of February and a couple months from now, we'll be talking playoffs.
In that game, he probably shouldn't have played.
I love how Timmy sang that to us. Back-to-back episodes, Timmy singing. I love this. It might be a weekly part of the show. Look,
I think the Celtics.
I think there's a good point in here that Van Lee just said that. Where we at? Maybe it wasn't Van Lee. Where I can't find the comment. I starred some of them, but I think the Sixers, in terms of, they're in trouble. Don't get me wrong. You can't lose the MVP and not be in trouble, but I think they have enough pieces to stay afloat, at least like as a playoff team. Like they're not going to fall completely out of it. Maxey's obviously having a great season. They have good role players, but I know I mentioned this in our Discord, and if you're not in our Discord, make sure you join. It's on all of our Twitter feeds. It's on the 5 Reasons Twitter feed. You can join. It's $2.99 or $3.99 a month. They have good role players, and they also have the ability to trade, whether it's Tobias Harris, if they want to go that far, but also I keep calling it the poo-poo platter of old power forwards, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum. Cork Moss has wanted out of there since like 1980. Since 1983, the last time they were actually a title contender. Cork Moss wants out. Like they have guys they can trade if they want to. It's a decision of, do they want to just like, all right, we're out, or do they want to try to push forward and see if they can't do a little bit with this season, even if Joel is out, and to be determined on that, like Brian said.
And that's so important because again, we are 7 days away from the trade deadline. So now I guess by Monday they're hoping to get a timeline for NBA so they can make a decision. Do we go get another player to hold us over until the playoffs start, or is he out for the year, not just the season, the year? And we just, we maybe turn Tobias Harris to a team who wants to contend. Like, so they have something by Tuesday, I guess, they'll know. They should know. And we'll see what they decide to do.
So Robert Covington, Marcus Morris, and Nicholas Batum, I believe, is the other guy you mentioned, Sean.
Yep.
Combined $40 million, roughly. basically.
And Tobias by himself also commands for $40 million.
Yeah, Tobias is another 40 million. So if you want to get if you want to combine all that for 80 million, maybe you can get like Lionel Messi. You know what I mean?
You can get LeBron. LeBron is 50. You know,
you can get Cristiano Ronaldo. You can get maybe Tiger Woods. NBA players who are making around 40 million right now. Klay Thompson, 43. I don't know what Golden State is going to do with the poo-poo platter.
Well, the report did say that, and I don't think it's a good idea, but they are not going to trade the core three. Yeah. Klay and Draymond is going nowhere, you know. So they'll just shop Chris. So, but to the next point, Chris Paul.
The real one here is Zach LaVine.
Yeah,
is the one that I immediately thought of, which I'm not sure how great of an idea that is. It's just certain dudes in this league, you don't know if they're actually winners. And, you know, when you get injured and your team immediately starts playing better without you, I have some questions. And Zach LaVine also 4 playoff games in his career. Not sure that's somebody you want to bank your championship hopes on, right? Maybe not totally his fault that he's only played in 4 playoff games, but as the best player on the team for the last couple of years, probably has something to do with that. Zach LaVine, 40 million this year, then 43. And then, hold on, Hoops Hype, what are you doing to me right now? Just totally messing up my flow. The point of it is he's getting like a, 5-year deal where he's in the 40s. Here we go. 40, 43, 46, 49. Oof. This is why.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Like there is not a chance. I got Kelly Oubre at home. As long as he stays out of the street, I mean, doesn't get hit by any more cars, I'll get the same production out of him as I am LaVine for 160 million less or whatever the hell he makes. Like I'm out on that. I just don't like LaVine. Yeah,
I think the Lakers are going to win this. Trae Young, Luka Doncic have the exact same contract as Zach LaVine, which is interesting. Found that interesting. Trae Young. No,
I think it's more likely they get Wiggins. They save Wiggins to get nothing with this college teammate. I don't know.
Okay, I mean, look, man. You could also break it up into multiple players, but I mean, I just don't. I don't really see where you go from here if you're Philadelphia. And look, this is one of the things, right? When you have somebody as good as Joel Embiid, or like any sport, your franchise player, not like your third or fourth or fifth, your franchise player goes down, you're fucked. That's generally how it goes. In most cases, except for the 2017-18 Boston Celtics, where Kyrie Irving got hurt and they were perfectly fine. It's Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Why am I bringing that up to me? Don't know. Anyway. Closing thoughts on Embiid before we get to All-Star reserves.
I do feel sorry for him. This was the season he actually, in my opinion, I mean, he didn't deserve it last year. He actually deserved MVP this year. Someone who was battling his injury, it was a point where he was a bust. After his first 2 years, he's gonna be Greg Oden. He just started playing basketball like 10 years ago. Like I legit, despite all the flopping and the trolling, I just feel bad for the guy. I hope it's not serious. But the Sixers curse will live another year. They will not make it to the conference finals. We can move on now.
Yeah, we'll see if it's a tear or not. Quick update on degenerate things. Josh Hart, over 13.5 rebounds and assists. Sean, so we got that one. Thank you for your service, Josh Hart. Anyway, moving on. All-Star game. We have All-Star announcements, and we already know we're at least getting one replacement in the Eastern Conference, so we'll get to that in a bit, but the All-Star reserves have been announced, and we are putting that on the screen right here. We'll start with the Western Conference. In the West, the starters were Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic. We made our predictions for that, and we got that mostly right. I didn't think LeBron was going to be a starter, or should have been rather, but obviously he's going to make the All-Star team. On the reserve side for the Western Conference, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns. There are a couple guys here that I'm mildly surprised about.
A couple? There's only one for me. Who was your second?
Who's the one for you?
Yeah, that's for us. Everyone's. like question mark. You know Curry's gonna make it. Like don't I mean you know Curry's gonna make the team.
I'm mildly surprised that there are 2 Clippers in there. Kawhi was a layup for me. Kawhi to me should be a starter, but we're doing the thing where we're all excited.
They have the best record of the last 2 months. So
yes,
I wasn't shocked. I was shocked at Cat. I didn't think
their pending playoff fall is going to be spectacular.
I thought it would have been Sabonis, not Cat. So I think the Kings not getting any All Stars is the one shock for me for the West. I didn't expect Cat. I figured it would have been Sabonis. And I think Sabonis will get I don't think we have any injuries. That's the issue.
Well, we'll see about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Sean,
thoughts on in 2 weeks, Brian.
Thoughts? Yeah, plenty of time to get hurt in 2 weeks. Look at Joel Embiid. Sean, any thoughts on the Western Conference? Do you have any big reactions to the guys who made it? We'll get to snubs in a second.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with the Cat part of it. I think largely a lot of people we just don't care for him and his game and his the way he carries himself. But they're the number 1 team in the West, so like I guess you got to give them 2. And I'm not going to put Rudy in there as much as Ant wants Rudy to be there. I would have liked to see either Jalen Williams or Chet make it to give the Thunder a second one, but if you're not going to give the Timberwolves 2, then how do you you start to get into that stuff. I was glad. I'm kind of glad the Knicks got 2. I know Julius is probably going to fall out, obviously, with the injury, but I think, I don't know if the voting happened before that. So like you get him the honor and then someone else is going to get it in addition. And it starts to add up to having, like 15 guys essentially get it. So I don't really have that many arguments. I guess Cat would be the only real one. And who I'm glad didn't make it? Our little friend in Atlanta, Mr. Trae Young.
Well, I think
we'll get to that.
I think he will. Sadly.
So the Western Conference. I remember a couple weeks ago we talked about this. Lauri Markkanen was the name that came up. Him missing is not like a crazy thing to me, but I did see a couple people say like, oh, he was one of the snubs or whatever the case may be. I mean, given where Utah is, like they're not a team that needs an all-star. Şengün is kind of tailed off, as have the Houston Rockets, so I wasn't too surprised at that. The Pelicans don't have an all-star, and if they did, who are you really putting in there? Right? Like, has Zion Williamson really been exactly Timmy?
I would have given it to BI if I had to give it to a Pelican.
I'm also here's the thing. This is why I think the roster should be 15. The Kings got nobody. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. There were people saying that they can both get in. I don't think they deserve both.
If Fox get in, that doesn't mean Curry wouldn't have gotten in.
I would one of the wild card spots. I think you have 2 wild card spots. I think if you wanted to go Fox over Karl Anthony Towns, I think I would have been fine with that.
I don't know how true it is, but I heard that either Fox or Sabonis had made it, and then when they lost to the struggling Miami Heat, they were like, "These motherfuckers, they can't have no damn all-stars. Can't lose to a team like that." I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, no Blazers, no Wembanyama. Thank God. Jeez.
This is probably the last 8 doesn't make it though.
Yeah, he's gonna make. He'll be in all of the other ones going forward. But I don't like putting rookies in the All-Star game. It's just like unless they're like sensational. I think Blake Griffin was one as a rookie, but Blake Griffin's also one of the best rookies that we've seen in the last 20 years.
And before Brian moves on, I just want to take a shout out for Tony, who was doing the daddy thing, and he wanted to say this little nugget. It's extremely hard to make your first All-Star game because voters get so used to this piling on awards. So shout out to Bronson, Paolo, and Max.
We'll get to the East right now. We'll do the East right now. Giannis, Joel Embiid, and Jason Tatum are starting in the front court. Joel Embiid, ... Probably going to miss the All-Star game. Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard backcourt. I would have had Jalen Brunson there, but Jalen Brunson makes it as a reserve, and he highlights the reserves, as is Bam Adebayo, who he might be the starter. He might be starting in the All-Star game now with Joel Embiid out, as people have been saying in the comments. Bam Adebayo, Jalen Brunson, Paolo Banchero, who I knew, some people were like sort of wishy-washy on that. I have no problem with that. I think he's been good, and I think it's a tough role that he's been in when Franz Wagner was out. And Orlando's been fun. I don't know if they're gonna actually last in the play-in, but Paolo Banchero, I have no problem with that. Jaylen Brown, okay, I get it. The Celtics gotta have two. Tyrese Maxey, absolutely. Donovan Mitchell, absolutely. Julius Randle, yeah, although he's not going to play in the game. So Trae Young, not there, but Trae Young will probably be there as a replacement.
He'll most likely replace Randle, I feel.
We're looking at 2 replacements, I think, minimum, because Julius Randle's going to be out, and I don't expect Joel Embiid to be there. You would go who, Sean?
Well, I was just gonna ask the same question to you guys and put it in the comments if you guys want to throw them in there. Who would be your injury replacements? I think, as much as I give it,
they're gonna ask Jimmy Butler, and he's gonna say no.
I sent the video in the chat. It's hilarious. Jimmy he's gonna say hell no.
Yeah, Jimmy's good. He's like, I'm all right.
He spent his last 2 All-Stars hair like playing dominoes. Like he's so I think he's gonna sadly be Trae. And then you're gonna probably get they're gonna want to give another Celtic, but I don't think they deserve 3.
I think Scotty Barnes might get the call.
That would be a good one. First, I like to see the new guys. So like, yeah, you can give it to Trae because he probably deserves to be in there, but give it to a guy like Scotty or Josh Hart. No, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another guy.
The parlay buster.
Yeah.
I think Scotty,
or maybe like Jared Allen's been playing very well. You don't want those types of guys in the All-Star game, like for a watching standpoint, but like he's been balling.
Say Less D says Trae Young and Scotty Barnes. That's my guess.
That's I'd put money on that. I'd say those 2.
That's my guess. Trae Young and Scotty Barnes. I don't think the Bulls are going to get one.
Not the Rosen. No, they're like what? Oh, they're nice. Oh, wow.
I don't think the Bulls. I mean, I don't know if DeMar DeRozan.
Siakam was actually getting some traction before he got traded.
I thought about Siakam, but I think Barnes is probably the leader in the clubhouse. Jared Allen's an interesting one. I feel like and Jimmy's probably another one, actually. Like in looking on down the list, like Jimmy Butler's he's missed 15 games, but everyone's missed several, kind of, outside of a few. So Tyler Hero's not an all-star, no.
No, yeah, he's not.
I don't know if the Heat exactly deserve to, but yeah, I'm getting texts from very excited Knicks fans about this team. OG Anunoby, all-star? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I would say Trae Young, Scotty Barnes.
I'm perfectly fine with that. And those are 2 guys that would be fun to watch in an all-star game because of how Trae can shoot and pass, and then Scotty, the stuff he can do at his size. Like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Van Lee said Bill Simmons is having a season.
Yeah, that live on TV and getting smacked.
This is why that was a 2-unit bet for me, and 2 units for me is almost nothing. Like relative to my, let's not give out too much information there. All right, we could end on let's throw up some comments. Do we have comments on All-Star, Embiid, trade stuff? We're about to get to trade deadline stuff, predictions.
Yeah,
do we have any comments on those? We have a bunch of comments from before.
First comment we have to throw up there is one of our faithful sponsors, of course, Insurance by Lynette, Heat and 5. She knows you can't roller coaster as a true Heat fan. You got to know it's always Heat and 5. Thank you, Lynette, for always supporting us and being here. I do have a couple. Well, I'll throw these around.
Yes.
Van Lee. I starred some as we went through the show. So Van Lee said, I'll take this one since it has my name in it. Sean says, Pat has to push the chips in now, right? Knicks winning 9 straight. Must be boiling his blood. East is wide open. LeBron looking look, I know we're going to get to this, and I'll throw the next comment up so we can go to that next comment about LeBron and Miami. What do you guys think? Is it just Twitter nonsense? Is there substance to it? Maybe
So
not just about Miami or just in general about LeBron wanting out.
So I saw the tweet first, right? And I kind of passed it off. But then I realized that this guy has been right on like 7 other things. I have no idea who he is. He was right on the Clippers. So I'll send to you, Brian. But apparently this guy has been right on like 7 things. So that piqued my interest. I highly doubt LeBron is getting traded next week, Thursday. I have on record said that I think LeBron might be gone this summer, just because not really between Bronny or just the fact that maybe he's bored. Who knows? I do think LeBron is going either next year or I don't think he finishes his career in Lakeland. I don't. But yeah, I don't think they were sad tonight because they're gonna get traded. I just think, the dudes are old. I saw a beam of LeBron on media day versus now. He looks like the Denzel movie with all of them, like just scorched earth. But it's interesting. But I don't think there's much smoke to the heat fire right now.
Also, the number you would have to get to is
50.
Fairly it's close.
50.
It's 47.6. You
can get
need
there.
Tyler Duncan.
Oh, well, never mind.
I mean,
the picks.
I think you had.
I think you may have
to take. It's
you
like
may
Thomas.
have to throw in, you may have
Tom,
to throw in Nikola Jokic,
yeah,
or Thomas Bryant. I'll do it. I
would. Oh, in a heartbeat. I'm sorry. Just in case there's any doubt, I would fly to Miami and park their bags myself. For the record, just so there's no doubt, I would do that immediately. LeBron, Bam, and Jimmy, fuck yes. But go on.
Douglas says you have to throw in Jaime Jaquez for LeBron. I think this is God's gonna strike lightning on me as I say this out loud. So if I disappear, you know what happened. But I don't think LeBron James is gonna have that much value.
And here's why: because he's going to dictate where he goes. Because this is episode 4 on the Netflix special. Freaking everything is scripted. This whole damn thing is scripted. You know it. Episode 5 is going to be all about Tatum playing with Deuce. He was on the court today doing like band workouts. I'm not even watching that shit. I hate.
Yeah,
this.
like a LeBron trade, which I don't think is going to happen. I should have said that on the front end. I do not think this is going to happen. But a LeBron trade to anybody on the front end is basically, it's not a negotiation. It's LeBron saying, I want out and I want to go there specifically. And you making it happen because LeBron has the league by the balls and is trying to become an owner someday for the Las Vegas franchise. And he's going to get whatever he wants because he pretty much has since he was like 16 years old, probably even before that. That being said, yeah, I don't think a trade is going to happen. The Lakers just beat the Celtics tonight. Who knows? And no, I don't think LeBron is necessarily going anywhere. Like if we're doing trade deadline predictions, LeBron being traded is not one that I think is actually going to happen. And he is 47.6 million and then 51 million next year, player option. We don't know if he's going to opt out. Maybe he opts in, maybe he opts out, signs a 2-year deal. Who the fuck knows? By the way, he's going to be 40 years old in December of this coming year.
I know it's crazy to say, but for those reasons right there, he's old. He can become a free agent.
He controls your franchise when he gets there. Still,
you cannot I get this. It's crazy to say. I'm not giving them Jaime Jaquez for LeBron James.
No,
they're not doing it. I get it. Like, you find other ways to do it because you wouldn't have to do it because LeBron's going to say, if I want to go to Miami, you make the numbers match. And I mean, you take Jovic. I mean, I know I'm not whatever, but like you're not giving premium assets for LeBron James. I just don't think that's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna get him for like 5 cents on the dollar, but like
right. But it's not 2K where you need to send over. It's not 2K on the really hard level where you need to send over all your draft capital to opposing GMs who are trying to strip you down of everything. Yeah,
I'm too old about that. Played like NBA Live 2003, man. I don't know. You could just push those shit through. There wasn't a trade negotiation.
I miss those days, actually. God, video.
I got a couple more comments. You want me to get off the LeBron topic?
Yeah. What other comments do we have? Because we don't think that's
let's see here. Well, this is a Miami Heat comment, but let's Van Lee says a lot of star players in flux, a lot of chaos. Miami loves this. Wonder if the Godfather holds his cards to his chest. We talked specifically about LeBron, but do you think the Heat do anything before the trade deadline? We got about 8 days.
I think Andy's gonna do the thing where he saves Mickey some money, and probably free Baros's spot for a possible buyout. I don't expect anything more than that.
Brian?
Let me answer the question properly. Let's put it back up. Want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Van Lee. Thank you for the question.
Shout out Van Lee. Yeah, he's always in here. Shout out.
A lot of star players in flux, a lot of chaos. Miami loves this. Wonder if the Godfather holds his cards to his chest. I've been struggling to feel to some degree. Save for the Dame stuff, although you could even bring that into question, but we know how that played out. I think there needs to be urgency from their front office, and an understanding that what you have right now is probably not going to cut it if you look around the Eastern Conference. And Joel Embiid's injury would actually push me to that further. I wouldn't look at Joel Embiid being hurt and saying, oh, now that he's hurt, Philly is sort of ripe for the taking. It's like, no, you try to do something to make sure you capitalize on the Eastern Conference being wide open. I just don't think you can't bet on miracles. And in the first year, you were the 5 seed. It was a unique situation, and you were able to take advantage of it to the fullest extent. By the way, they were playing really good in the regular season before that. You could argue that that's probably the second best team of the Jimmy era, I think, behind the 1 seed team. I think was probably the best. It just fell apart in the playoffs. I don't actually think last year's team was like the best or second best. I think they just put it all together at the right time, coincidentally, when Tyler Hero got hurt. And they were able to get into the finals. I don't think that team, though, in the playoff series is beating the 1920 Heat team, especially if healthy, with Goran and Bam, etc. And I don't think they're beating the 1 seed Heat team in the playoffs either, in a playoff series from 2021, 2022. I don't. And I don't think you can continue to bank on miracles. So I think they need to do something else. And the main thing for me, I think the Terry Rozier thing is going to work. You need to give it time. He hasn't even had a ability to practice yet. I think after the All-Star break, you'll start to see that work. By the way, 10 assists yesterday. I thought he had a very good floor game, even though he wasn't scoring the ball effectively. And you need people who could contribute when their shot's not falling, because not everyone could in the NBA. They need size next to Bam. I'm tired of watching 6'5" shooting guard size dudes play power forward on this team. I'm tired of it. It's helping make them like I don't think this team's been a joy to watch at all. I've enjoyed watching other teams in the NBA this year. The Thunder have been like one of my favorite teams to watch this year. The Knicks have been very fun to watch this year. I can't stand like Celtic fans, but their team's been really good. Save for tonight. Where they lost me 2 units. And ultimately, like, you have these teams around the league, like the Heat are not fun to watch at all. I would like to see them do something to make it so that they're fun to watch again, like they were 2 years ago. And in the playoffs.
Let me throw one more up here on the Heat topic, and then we can go kind of broad NBA if we want to do that at the end. Sayless D says, and I don't know what Sayless D keeps throwing my name on everything. Like, I'm a low usage player. Get Brian and Timmy some touches.
I think
Like,
it's
these guys
maybe it's because you're producing today. Could be.
I don't know
too.
what. Yeah, exactly. And then he'll be on me in the Discord in a little bit. I know how this works. He says, "Would you rather have Tari Eason or Sadiq Bey?" Between those two guys, I think, in my opinion, Sadiq Bey works better because I don't think Eason shoots the ball very well.
Eason can shoot, but it's like one of two. One like it's very low. It's like a one or two shots a game. I love Eason as a perfect four next to Bomb, but I would rather Bey. For sure.
Like for right now, Sadiq Bey.
Yeah.
But
I like Tari Easton more as a player, but he's less than 4 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. And he's approximately at about 36% on those threes. His 3-point rate is not very high. So I think you need somebody who can stretch the floor. But listen, that's not a bad thing if they were to do it, right? You just got to get that shooter out of him. So Matt, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, that's mad disrespectful. That's crazy.
No, his usage is actually high. Sadly, he had the ball.
Not right now. I don't know what his usage is right now. His usage is like, I'm not going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Let's talk about around the league. Like, what do you guys think is going to happen as we approach the deadline outside of the we're in the Miami Heat forest, but yeah, let's get outside the Miami Heat.
Which for me is not a problem because that's mainly what I do.
So, I saw Snyder kind of beg the Hawks to take Murray off of the trading block, and I heard the Hawks also want to keep Bogdanovic. But that team is just so weird. Like, you've been shopping Capella for 2 years. I think Onyeka is better. I do think that this may be they actually trade Capella just because you see the Grizzlies no longer have a starting center. They might put together something. I do think that them as the Grizzlies should either trade for a center or trade Marcus Smart. But the biggest name, I don't think he's a big name, but I saw he said in chat, I think Kuzma is the Wizards are going to tear it down. You're wasting time if you let Kuzma hit summer and you don't trade him, because you let him start next season with a brand new coach. Kuzma is value only going to decline. So I think they need to capitalize on either. I know the Kings. The Kings are really I don't think we as in the Heat can afford Kuzma. I know the Kings are really.
You could. There's a way to do it, but I will not repeat what I said about on the Discord about what that. Yeah, we're not.
Are you trading Ashford Brothers? Right? Oh. Is that your plan?
Then I'm not gonna repeat it, Timmy.
Because I agree. I didn't see that. I know how you think. I know you think. But I think the jokes aside, I think the Wizards are going to be a brand new team. I think Tyus is gone. I think
I wouldn't trade Kuzma. I would not trade Kuzma if I were Washington, because he has a descending contract and is getting 25, then 23, then 20. I would not be in a rush to trade him. You have him there, and I unless you're getting a crazy offer, which the one we just joked about would not be a crazy offer. I don't think Kyle Kuzma gets moved. I think DeJounte Murray is probably more likely. But I don't even know if that's going to happen at this point either.
I think guys like Kuzma are not just valued. Like, we always look for that perfect guy next to Bam. Around the league, people want guys of that size and that skill set, because everybody wants that bigger guy that can play the four, if you want to use a positional label. So I agree with Brian. I wouldn't trade him unless I'm getting a good package back.
No, I think Bogdanovic would be interesting for some teams.
The Pistons, they gotta do something like that actually stood out to me. For the first time, Killian Hayes got benched, and he also was almost traded 2 weeks ago, and Monty stopped it. So that's kind of interesting to me. Like, if you're not gonna play him, you should trade him. Sean actually shut this down last week. Shut this down last week.
John commented, "Would you do Caleb Martin for Obi Toppin?"
Sean said no to the exact same question last week when I asked.
He had a good game tonight, though. But he's from New York.
You got to pay him.
You just got, I'm not doing that.
Would you?
I mean,
so the question is basically, would you rather pay Caleb Martin or Obi Toppin? And my answer is neither.
Right. Sam, I don't pay any of those dudes.
Brian, do you think Jaden Ivey goes to the Spurs? Sayless D says, no, I don't think the Pistons are going to give up on Jaden Ivey. I mean, I know it's been like kind of weird there and watching the minutes distribution, but Jaden Ivey's actually had some more moments lately. I think the Pistons, like, this is going to sound stupid because I don't think it's possible for them. I think they want to try to get good. So, you talk about them being a Zach LaVine team, which I don't know about that, but I don't think Jaden Ivey's going to the Spurs. I do think the Spurs should probably get a point guard, but they also have Trey Jones. Just play Trey Jones at the point guard. Obi Toppin is an athletic Kuzma without the playmaking and the reliable shooting and the rebounding and the championship. Yes,
and questionable fashion. Obi Toppin has better fashion than Kyle Kuzma,
and a famous past.
Well, and he might get along better with people on our roster. Can anybody
common tastes? Yes.
He doesn't have common interests with certain people on our roster. Oh shit!
Oh, it's Jared Allen. Jared Allen, by the way, I thought somebody could get in this conversation at one point.
He got hurt tonight. Hurt tonight.
Oh, that's why he didn't get his rebounding over. Awesome.
Yeah. Bro, do you know that Oubre and Harden have the same common interests? Did you know that?
I can guess a few places that they probably met him.
But the difference is, clearly Oubre saw the family with that one.
We got some Nick Claxton questions here.
So the rumor came out today that the Nets might not be as confident anymore in keeping Mr. Claxton, and that the Thunder should get him.
The Thunder are the team that I think should get Nick Claxton. Yes. Someone said the Warriors here in the comments. Someone said Memphis. If I'm those teams, I look into it as well.
I call it immediately. I would.
I'm OKC.
What's the cost? What's the cost? And please hang up the rest of the phones. Bring me him now.
They got all those picks.
You have to pay him. That's
okay.
So
well, they're gonna pay anybody else. Like the Thunder have a 3-year window where before those contracts kind of like interlap. They have 3 years.
Please put that comment back up.
No, I gotta read the comments. Tim, you read this one. This is for you, Timmy.
From Douglas Mikes. He says trade Hero because he can't grow facial hair. I have more hair on my nipples.
You guys get me in. Wow. Oh man.
That sounds like something I'd say. Not seriously, of course.
To answer D, I would bring Clarkson behind J-Dub and Chet. Like I think their one weakness right now is they're not a good rebounding team. They're not. So yeah. Wow, nipples. Wow, that's crazy.
I do agree, though. Whether it's Claxton or someone else, I would love to see OKC get a 5, like
especially with that contract. Bertan 7.2 or 3 million. Like, don't let that expire and go to waste. Oh, maybe I don't know if y'all think it's worth it, but Valanciunas has been on the block since July.
Maybe Jake says, would Wizards take Duncan, Caleb, and a first for Kuz? Maybe throwing Jovic.
That is too much.
I don't know
that's too much.
I don't know if you want to make Kyle Kuzma and Tyler Hero teammates.
And I'm not one that is untouchable by any means with Duncan. Like, I move him if I can get something, especially because he's starting to turn back into a pumpkin. I just don't think that's the move I'm making. I'm cool with cashing in Caleb. I'm cool with trading Duncan. I don't mind trading the first if it's the right thing, but Kuz, I don't know.
But combined for Kuzma, nah.
Yeah. Let's take a couple more and get out of here.
I would have done that for OG.
Let's take a couple more and get out of here because we're at 45 minutes.
All right.
Miami needs another shot creator. Yeah, you need one with size. No Not another guard. I don't think.
If Marketing was available, I think he'd be a
I don't
Thunder
think.
for
Yeah, I
3
don't
weeks.
think Laurie Markkinen is getting traded. That would surprise me. Unless Ainge would do it if he gets like a fucking ransom. Like if they get.
So
a
do you
crazy
think
offer.
Sexton or Markkinen get traded, barring, like you said, large package back to trader?
I think
Trader.
Kelly Olynyk and THC, because he's not being played, but he
Yeah.
has a big contract. I think you get a KO because they have John Collins there, so I think you get a KO and a THC trade rather than a Sexton or a Laurie trade.
If I'm the Knicks, I'm trying to get Colin Sexton or Jordan.
What about
Clarkson.
Harry B? We're back recycling guys. He's been playing well for the last couple of weeks. Harrison Barnes.
He has been. He's actually shooting the ball really well right now.
I still think to get Spanish, if they could get their hands on Kuzma, because I heard they really, really want him, but he didn't even take their calls in the summer because of the bag that the Wizards had.
Barnes has to be dunking and stuff, money wise.
Yeah. Unless you want to count on Jay Rich doing what he did last night for the rest of the season, I don't know if you wanted to do that.
I just think you need I Barnes is interesting. I feel like you need somebody who plays bigger, not a center. I think you need a forward who can guard up and space the floor.
So do you take the Nets? The Nets.
I don't know if Harrison Barnes could guard up if Bam is switching out on the perimeter.
So Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's what I meant. The Nets, the 2 pieces of chicken, the two wings, the Royce and the DFS.
The answer would honestly be Nikola Jovic if he were a better defender, but he's not there yet, which is fine. He's like a teenager, so whatever. Dorian Finney-Smith is really the guy I'm describing. Like that's exactly what they need. But in order to get there, if you're not using Duncan, you got to piece together like Caleb, Thomas Bryant, another minimum or two minimums, like because Dorian Finney-Smith is at like 13-ish million. And then
I saw.
I don't know if the net. What are the Nets doing with Duncan Robinson? If you're doing Duncan Robinson, they want to reshuffle. I don't know if Duncan Robinson makes a lot of sense unless they want to keep that salary slot in that area. Because remember, you can't think of these as players going for players. Sometimes you have to think of contracts going for contracts. Duncan Robinson fills a need in terms of salary slot, and he's going to be more movable as his contract gets closer to expiring. Can you take that 17 whatever ish million it is and have that slot into the summer, potentially package it for a bigger deal? I actually think Duncan's contract is starting to get some value now for a team that's rebuilding, but I don't know how much.
Let me ask this. Obviously, in an ideal world, the person that they get is a bigger four that can guard up type of guy, right? Do you want them? Ideally, it could be a guy that can do both. Do you want them to be more offensively inclined or defensively inclined? Like I think of like Kelly Olynyk, Zach Collins, like bigger guys that are offensive or more defensive, like 3-and-D, DFS.
That.
Okay.
That.
What do you think, Timmy?
I think that just because Miami searches a lot, they don't have prototype defense. If this was just 2K, then yeah, because again, like on 2K, Jovic is like Laurie Markkinen on 2K, you know. But I think because in real life they switch a lot, you need a DFS or that kind of player. Even though I still would welcome back KO with open arms to this team.
If
for the
they
right
could
price.
get Cam Johnson, I mean, if he was available, heck yeah. But
you need facts for that.
But you need a bigger guy. He doesn't fit that mold of the bigger
he's
guy.
like 6'6".
Yeah. All right, Brian. You're the point guard.
Say less D. Is that the last comment? What about I actually want like more of a bang, but we'll answer this question. But somebody send us off with something like
this is good right here.
Do any of these suggestions make the Heat contenders or just playoff bound? I think they're playoff bound.
Once Jimmy is healthy, they're always going to be playoff bound.
Yeah. You got to remember, people. February 1st, the beginning of Jim VP season.
It's begun. That man is shooting 50, 44, 88 right now. We are in the midst of Jim MVP season.
His over-under was hovering around 18.5, 19.5 points. It was 21.5 before last game, and he's starting to hit his overs. So that means he's getting serious and starting to care about basketball again. Don't drink too much coffee, though. See what happens. All right. I think we're good. We'll be back next week after the trade deadline, Thursday evening to recap it all. And for the sake of many of you watching, hopefully your favorite team did something.
The trade deadline's a week from today?
Yes.
Yep.
Love it. All right.